All right, weird little benefits I've noticed of getting in shape, losing some weight, losing a bit of body fat, building a little bit of muscle as well in recent years. These are just like slightly more niche, little cool things that I've noticed in the last couple of years that they're aside from the really obvious, very tangible, big number drops on the scale, the cholesterol's coming down, subsequently lowering risk factors for major chronic disease, feeling better in yourself, more confident. And these are very obvious things we experience that inform us that we're going in the right direction. I just want to share like little weird niche things I've picked up on. The first one is that food, even basic food, tastes unreal to me once you go through that taste bud transformation. To the extent that now, like when I can just eat like salted corn cakes, I can just eat smoked tofu. Heck, it doesn't even need to be smoked. I can just take tofu from the pack and just munch on the thing. Just basic vegetables, bit of cucumber on its own. Sometimes I like a little bit of stevia on there, but I can honestly just eat loads of raw veggies on their own. This is stuff that I was never as inclined to do years and years ago, and it's obviously a massive advantage. If that stuff tastes good to me, obviously that's a massive advantage. Using like very basic herb spices, like I still season my food, I still use condiments, but like the amount of times friends and family look at the stuff I'm eating and go, isn't that really boring? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm in heaven. I'm eating the salted rice cake and I'm like, this is euphoric, man. Second thing, I do enjoy exercise even just a little bit more now. Now I'm really proud of my body, honestly. And I'm really confident in my own skin. I feel good in myself. When I see a reflection of myself, it doesn't fill me with the self-criticism and the self-loathing and the resentment that it did once used to. Now, body image isn't perfect. Like, there's still some mornings, to be transparent, that I wake up and I'm like, we've got some work to do here. And there's maybe a PG, polite way of looking at it. It's more like, you look like crap, right? Like, we all have these moments, don't we? But honestly, that is a really small ratio compared to the times that I'm like, wow, I'm actually genuinely... I know this sounds like this is really weird talking to a camera about and strangers hearing me say, but I am really proud of myself, I am. And that's taken some time. Therefore, doing exercise, which I've actually always enjoyed, for me, it was food. When I was 18 kilos heavier than I am today, it was food that was the problem. Like, I was doing exercise all through that time, actually more than I am now, ironically. But I actually really love working out now, just that little bit more, because I'll be honest, like the superficial angle. It's not just superficial, it's the physicality of it as well. Like just that fit feeling, that mobile, active, strong, fit, flexible, vital feeling, let's say. Vital is probably the best word for it. Yeah, it does make a difference. It does. Like when you're proud of your physique as well, and you're moving, you're less shy. You're less shy to throw yourself into new sports, new environments, especially social stuff, social exercise where there's other people. Like I am just less anxious to go and do those things now. Third thing, I appreciate this massively subjective, but I feel like I look better in clothes now. Is that kind of obvious? I don't know, but for me, like a lot of my motivations were, well, I'm working on my body. One of my motives for getting in shape is the superficial, it is the vanity aspect. I want to look better naked. I want to be a lighter body weight. I wasn't necessarily so much thinking about what will I look like in clothes, I suppose. I was more kind of looking at my belly like, oh, I want this to go, but not that many people are seeing that anyway. But subsequently, like, I wind up feeling like I look much better in clothes too now I'm slimmer. And like, a lot of it is hidden, but things are on show, especially in gorgeous summer weather like we have at the moment. And of course, the facial change that happens. I didn't realize when I was 18 kilos heavier just how much fat I stored in my face and what a drastic transformation the face change can have too. But you hold fat everywhere and you lose fat everywhere and your arms get more chiseled and everything. And so even the stuff that is on show in clothes, I just feel like I look much better. And again, this is subjective, and I appreciate it's a really superficial thing, but it's in my head, so subsequently it's improving my quality of life because I feel better about myself in clothes or not in clothes now. And I was just really thinking, I want to feel better naked. Like I want to look hot naked. I didn't quite realize, I suppose, that I'll feel a lot better about myself in clothes too. And that's been kind of cool. And clothes shopping years ago was never an anxiety-ridden experience for me. I'm not going to be all dramatic about it. I didn't hate it, but it definitely wasn't cool going and having to buy the next circumference size up in jeans. I do remember buying that first pair of 30s, 30 waist, and then being like, I definitely think I used to fit into a 28. That's not cool. And then I've definitely got, from about 10 years ago, I've probably given them away now, but I definitely bought jeans that were a 34 waist, and I'm sure at the time will have been like, oh, I do remember being a 28 fitting into a 28. What's happened there? And these are all tight now, like what's happened there? And that wasn't as fun. I do also feel like, but again, this is hard to necessarily attribute to being leaner, being slimmer, being in better physical fitness, I suppose, but I do feel more willing to be risky with my fashion choices, more interested in being trendy, actually maybe even more interested in presentation and taking care of myself now I'm in better physical shape. This is a big one actually, something I had no idea, I never anticipated would be a side effect, a positive side effect of getting in better shape. An increase in standards, and maybe most importantly, self-belief that rippled into other domains of my life. Because I saw, my subconscious, unconscious was witnessing, and consciously obviously too, couldn't deny it, I was witnessing what happens when I set a goal, and then it's messy along the way, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back sometimes, but ultimately achieving that goal. The subsequent sort of positive feedback loop, the reinforcement that, hey, no, you are capable of setting goals. Again, this wasn't necessarily always my conscious self-talk, but this happening very unconsciously. Just seeing that, no, I really can keep my word. I really can keep the promises I make to myself. And I think it made me more ambitious as well, because it's like, you see what you can do. You get a little glimpse of what you can do. And I do feel that's had a ripple effect in other areas of my life. Obviously, subsequently, my whole profession now is off the back of getting in better shape years ago. I wouldn't be doing what I do today online, making all these videos, coaching almost 675 now men and women from across the world, had I not sorted this out, or started to sort this out anyway for the best part of a decade ago. So yeah, all of that is off the back of that. And who knows, it's very speculative where I'd be if I hadn't fixed my weight, if I was still struggling with food like I was back in the day right now. It's very speculative, it's all very hypothetical, isn't it? But I do think this has a massive ripple effect. 5, yeah, this is gonna sound odd, but this is a really good thing. This is a really good thing. I made a video about this the other day. My junk food hangovers are way worse now after a cheat day than they were years ago. And I was eating bad food so frequently that I was used to it years ago. My body was conditioned to it. Psychologically, I was conditioned to it. Now, I'm so sensitive to it. I'm so sensitive. Like the ice cream example the other day, tasted amazing, but if I were to eat multiple ice creams in a day, like I used to back in the day, if I was to go on a binging spree after that, well, I wouldn't feel so good, would I? And I wouldn't feel so good the next day. And basically, I could even definitely say this with alcohol too, actually. That's a really good example. It doesn't take many beverages now to get me feeling quite tipsy, to get me feeling rotten and awful. I don't drink much, but to get me feeling rotten and awful the next day. The same is true with food. I've experienced the exact same thing with food. So now, if I'm to have a really less than perfect day of eating, which does happen, I'm definitely not perfect with this stuff, or the junk food hangover, quote unquote, the next day, that is brutal, and it does feel way worse than it ever used to. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, how is this a positive benefit, Ryan? How is this a weird benefit of getting in shape? It makes those big blowouts way more off-putting to me. So this is actually an advantage, that I feel the pain of eating bad food more. That is actually a massive advantage to me. It's leaves a deep scar now, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that again for a while. It's so off-putting. Whereas when you're just used to it, you're not having those dramatic highs and lows. It doesn't feel like such a stark, extreme difference to your normal default feelings. So when I wake up all sluggish and all bloated and my face is really puffy after a cheat day, that was all normal to me back in the day. Now it just feels like such a stark contrast from my usual reality that I'm like, no, thank you very much. That is definitely a benefit. 6, 7, I don't know what we're on. I wouldn't have thought of this if I didn't have a medical appointment in 48 hours. Nothing serious, by the way, you don't need to worry about me. But this is why it was on my mind. I swung with utmost confidence now into the doctor's office to go and see my dentist as well. Now my diet is much better. And I have had fillings years ago, 10 years ago, from damage that I'd done from my poor eating back then. But honestly, every time I go to the dentist now, it's such a positive experience, which I know for a lot of people, it's filled with dread. What's my dentist going to uncover? How many fillings am I going to need this time, etc., etc. For me, wow, it's such a positive experience. And I am big on dental hygiene as well, so I can't say it's just dietary change that's helped with that. Anyway, I digress. The confidence that I have when I go into the doctor's office and they're like, okay, we need to run this, we need to do this, we need to take blood, etc., etc. I'm just like, yeah, cool, have at it. I've got no nerves, I've got no angst about anything like that. I love it. In fact, I just, maybe it's so superficial, or not superficial, so arrogant, but I just love the feedback. We did an ECG. About 6 months ago, I did an ECG for something. And And they were like, yeah, this is athlete level. And I'm like, damn well should be. But I do love it. I do love it. It's just validating. And finally, I have touched on this in recent videos, but strangers treat you differently in ways that you can't always fully articulate or explain. And like, there's so many, this is really hard to talk about because people again just go, oh, you're so arrogant, or you're assuming that any eye contact is someone finding you attractive, someone's interested in you, and how do you extrapolate people just being nice to somebody is treating you especially different because you're in better shape than somebody else, and who's to say that's better shape? And am I assuming by talking about this that everyone looks at me and goes, wow, he's in fantastic shape? No, of course I'm not, but I have noticed this progressively over years and years and years now. And yes, there's other variables, there's different cultures, some people are just really friendly as service staff, etc., etc. But I do notice more free passes with things, I do get complimented more, I do receive more free things, and it's to such a degree that I can't help but correlate it to improved physical attractiveness as a result of the leaning down, the muscle building, etc., etc., etc. Yes, I know it's arrogant to talk about, it's taboo, I just sound really boastful, I play devil's advocate with it constantly, I bat away most of this, like I deny most attention I get, and just say, oh, it's just happenstance, or they just looked at me at a certain time, etc., etc. I downplay most of this stuff, and I'm still coming to the same conclusion that yes, being in better shape, we can say beauty is subjective, which I think is actually a nonsense. I think beauty is quite tangible, it is quite quantifiable, it is quite objective. There are small subjective differences. You might find person A beautiful, your friend doesn't, etc. But broadly speaking, beauty does seem to be quite objective, does seem to be quite quantifiable. Anyway, I digress. And it is in line with leanness. It is in line with body fat percentages. This is very well documented. This is anecdotally starkly clear to me. I don't need a bloody study, but this is evidenced by the studies as well. And so, on physical attractiveness. And so, anyway, I have noticed better treatment. And it's an advantage most of the time, it can be a disadvantage some of the times. I spoke about that in some of the recent videos where I talked about the honest downsides of losing weight. Like, you might not want to get hit on at that time, but hey, you're going to. And no, these things were not nearly happening as frequently to me as they were years and years ago. And that's it then. Let me know which of these you have noticed down below. What else? What else is a little non-obvious, let's say, positive side effect of getting in better and better physical health, well-being, and fitness in recent years? If you enjoy these kinds of videos, let me know down below. I'll keep making them because I could talk on this subject for hours. It's not my usual stuff here because it doesn't seem so strategy related, doesn't seem so tactical, doesn't seem so useful to people, but where I've realized from speaking on this a bit more recently is the value to people is they resonate and they can see these little bits of evidence in their journey that they are still going the right way. And I think that's why people like this stuff. So let me know which of these you resonate with below.